Over the mountains, dry and fairly sunny elsewhere, especially in the south. Temperatures remaining cool across most of the country. 9 o'clock is the time. That's all from the news team for today. Back to Lorraine.
Jo, thanks very much indeed. Well, it's often called the forgotten illness, despite affecting over 100,000 women, and it's also the biggest cause of maternal suicide in the UK. We're talking about postnatal depression, and our postbag really has been inundated with letters asking for help. But first, do you remember how Sammy suffered in Brookside after the birth of her baby?
Look, please, just shut up. Will you shut up? Will you just shut up?
Sure, a lot of people can identify with that. Well, with us today are Tricia and Jeremy Rose and their wee baby Alex, and they know just how damaging postnatal depression can be to, well, the whole family. Thanks very much indeed for coming in and talking to us. Now, Patricia, I know it all sort of started for you. It was your second pregnancy, wasn't it? Yes. Your first one was okay, everything went fine, yes. That was all right. But what happened after the second pregnancy then?
Well, it happened during the pregnancy. I had a lot of pain. I had my pubis bone split, so I was in severe pain.
Agony.
Yes, for the last half of the pregnancy. But I just carried on as normal, and then the labour came. It was very, very fast, very painful, and I was in great shock really afterwards, and then it started from there really, and but it was a gradual process. I didn't realise what was wrong with me. I'd always been perfectly happy. I just thought, oh well, it's just a baby blues, and I've got 2 small children to look after, and
but it just got worse and worse.
But it got worse and worse and worse, and then it was about 6 months later it came to a head. I felt so depressed, felt so sad. I thought I wasn't happy anymore, and I just really wanted to leave. And I just walked out the door one evening, and I sat in the field and cried for about 4 hours in the freezing cold, not knowing what to do. Didn't know who to turn to, didn't know who to speak to, and but I sort of thought about ending it. But
really, it got that bad?
It got that bad, yes, because I just didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't think anybody would understand what I was going through, and Jeremy was going through a difficult time at work.
Right, and this was all adding pressure as well, wasn't it?
I was trying to be strong for both of us, really, and
it's too much.
Too much, it was.
Jeremy, you must have watched your wife, who you love, turning into somebody else almost. Was that what it was like?
Well, like Tricia said, it was a gradual thing. We were going through a very difficult patch when we were living in London, and it wasn't until, like Tricia said, 6 months later that we had this big argument. Tricia left for 4 hours, and it's when you take everything into account and you look back about a year later, you can say, well, yes, from that point of view, that's when the problem started, and this is why it was caused by that. But at the time, you don't realise that, and you just think
you're just in the middle of getting on with your life, aren't you, and trying to sort of get on with it.
It's very important that we actually sat down when Tricia did realise something was wrong, that we sat down, we talked about it, and there were occasions that Tricia thought that she could say things to me, and then on other occasions where she wasn't relevant, that she was talking to me.
You needed somebody else,
didn't have anyone to talk to. And yet, obviously, the obvious person to talk to is your husband, but it just wasn't happening.
That's right.
Very difficult.
And then I decided to go to the doctor, although I didn't think that was necessarily a good move. I thought, oh, they only see people that were ill. You know, I didn't think I was ill. You know, I didn't think I was ill.
Right.
And but I went along, and I thought, well, he only got 3 minutes per patient. He's not going to have time to really talk to me. But I just went, and he says, "How are you?" And I just burst into tears for the first 5 minutes. And
that probably was good for you.
It was really good. It was able to release all the emotion, and then he said, well, I think there is something wrong. But my biggest fear going to the doctor was they might take the children away. I was afraid what they might do, you know, social workers getting involved and things like that.
Which was, I suppose, an understandable fear, but I'd have to really...
It doesn't really
happen. What about the children? Because, I mean, you said your biggest fear was getting them taken away. Do you think they've been affected by this at all, especially your second child?
Well, I didn't really have the same kinds of feelings as I had with the first one. You're elated, you're happy with the baby, you know, you really think, oh, this is wonderful. But the second one, Tristan, I didn't have any feelings at all, really. It was very difficult.
Feel a bit guilty about Tristan
I
sometimes?
still feel guilty. I still feel guilty, but I'm coming to terms with that.
Right.
It's
And what
fine,
about,
though.
good. Well, what about when you had wee Alex here, who's one of the best behaved children I've ever seen? He's wonderful. What, when you had him, were you worried when you were pregnant and thought to yourself, oh, I don't know if it's all going to happen again?
Yes, I was, and all the pain came back with the pubic bone. I could hardly walk, I could hardly move. I was in great pain. I had no feelings towards Alex at all during the whole pregnancy. I really was thinking, oh, what's it going to be like afterwards? I really didn't know.
And how has it been? It must be a wee bit like going through a dark tunnel. Is there light at the end? I mean, you look fine, you sound fine. How are you now?
I'm fine. There's still a few hurdles. I mean, it's not easy with 3 small children, but we're getting there. And Alex is a wonderful baby.
That's great.
Couldn't have been better. And as soon as I had him, I had the same elation I had when I had Charlotte.
Right.
And I'm, really happy now.
Good, good.
The important thing was for me to give support to Tricia.
Yes.
And it's very easy to say that you talk to your wife or you talk to people, but it was very difficult. I mean, it was as a man to relate the problems that Tricia was going through. All you can really do is try and understand. And when she was saying that she needed counselling, that she needed support from the doctor, that I was there as much as possible. It all came about where work was building up. So obviously, as the person who's supporting Tricia and looking after the family, I was in a dilemma as to obviously how long I should dedicate myself to work and how much that I could support Tricia.
Well, we're glad to see that you are all looking well, and you've got a great wee baby. He's absolutely smashing, and thank you very much indeed for coming in, because as I say, it's a subject we've had so many letters on. It really does affect an awful lot of families, it really does. And remember, there are places to go for help. We've been putting up a number there. It's the Association for Postnatal Illness, and the number, of course, is 071 386 0868. Well, Hilary is with us after the break with some good advice on coping with postnatal depression, so do stay with us.